Alright, so hello again, everyone. So for this session, we are going to discuss about the blended learning models. We now know what blended learning is. Simply put, it means a mix of learning model which is online and face-to-face. Without us knowing it, actually, we might be doing blended learning of some form over the past years. Now, in this session, we will discuss about the basic models or modalities of blended learning. As you can see on the screen, we have number 1, the rotation model, 2, the flex model, the a la carte model, and the enriched virtual model. And we're going to do them one by one. First, we're going to discuss the components of blended learning. As digital and social media become more and more prevalent in the life of our learners, inevitably, blended learning will become more and more relevant and even necessary. But still, the core of a blended classroom is on multiple modalities. We still acknowledge the learning levels of Bloom's taxonomy from remembering to creating. First, students are given adaptive and engaging content with assessments for them to independently learn the basic concepts of the lesson. Next, teacher instruction will work towards development of higher order thinking skills such as applying and analyzing with differentiated mini lessons. And lastly, we have the creation of projects and tasks that evaluate students' critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and the use of ICT, to name a few. So, what is a blended learning model? A blended learning model is an approach to be used to carry out or implement blended learning. Understanding of the modality and how it should be used to a specific content is important to make the experience meaningful and relevant to the students. There are actually thousands of types of models of blended learning with varying scale, audience, content, learning spaces, and technology, including the risks. I would like you to realize that this approach is flexible and dynamic, since how we can integrate technology to learning is actually limitless. But my focus on this discussion is to create a spectrum of how virtual learning, percentage-wise, dominates the learning process. So, here are the 4 models of blended learning. Question is, which is right for you? First, we go to the rotation model of blended learning. So it says in this model, students within a class rotate between online learning and other learning modalities, either on a fixed schedule or at the instructor's discretion. In this model, most of the learning still occurs on a physical brick-and-mortar campus. Here, the engagement of face-to-face instruction and virtual learning is not fixed, as it is dependent on the individual teacher on what, where, when, and how he or she wants to integrate blended learning approach. The second one is called the flex model of blended learning. Here, students switch between learning modalities on a customized fluid schedule that uses online learning as its cornerstone. Similar to the rotation model, learners still learn primarily on campus, but under the flex model, every class is divided into online and offline components. Here also structure can be observed, although we can say that online learning is really the backbone of student learning. We can also see laboratories that are provided to let students move on an individually customized fluid schedule. Teachers in this setup provide face-to-face support on a flexible and adaptive basis through activities such as small group instruction, group projects, and individual tutoring. We go to the third. It's called the a la carte model of blended learning. What is this? In this model, a student takes one or more courses online in addition to traditional courses at the brick-and-mortar campus. Unlike full-time online learning, in the a la carte model, students at a particular school may choose between online and offline courses at their convenience. So students take online courses geared towards advancement placement or electives. They can take these courses or classes online either at school or off-site. In this model, students are increasing their options by having the opportunity to take classes beyond what is already offered at school. And the last is what we call the enriched virtual model or remote model of blended learning. In this model, learning is divided between online and offline components, although face time is required between the student and the teacher. In the enriched model, the enriched virtual model, the student does not necessarily come to campus every day. So students' focus is on completing online coursework while they only meet their teacher in what we call as needed basis. So in this approach, students wouldn't see or work with the teacher on a daily basis. So, to summarize everything, blended learning is a mix of brick and mortar and online learning. The equal interaction of face-to-face and online happens only on the hybrid zone. As you can see in this illustration, the hybrid zone is characterized by the rotation model. Most schools who are starting with blended learning would use this model. This would be the subject of my next video, as the sub-areas like station rotation, lab rotation, and flipped classroom can be done in most of our school setup. Online and virtual dominated models are flex model, a la carte model, and enriched virtual model. But to end, what we do have to remember though is as a school is that we always go back to how we envision our learners to be in the future, and this would be based from our mission, vision, and goals. And blended learning is only one of the vehicles to get there. As we say, the destination is far more important than on which car we're riding, rather than having a ride with no destination at all. Although, I think most of you would agree with me that you would rather drive an SUV more than a minivan. Correct? So this is all for now. See you next time. Thank you so much, and peace.